Tuesday, April 9th, here on the Just Baseball Show. That's Jack McMullen, and I am Peter Apple, and we are doing buy or sell 10 games into this Major League season. It's a lot of early reactions, but we're starting to see some things come to fruition. There's a couple of takes in here that I'm going to give Jack McMullen. I loaded up all 30 MLB teams, and I have a take, and I'm going to throw it at you. Some are a little wild, but some are going to make you think. And then on the back half of this episode, Walker Buehler of the Los Angeles Dodgers makes his return. You got something to say. What's up?
I am interested we're recording before we chat with Walker. I'm eagerly anticipating our conversation with Walker because this is a guy that's working his way back from Tommy John, and that is the headline in baseball over the last week or so. And it has been the case on and off for the last year, and Walker has been very vocal about it. I wonder if he will almost hit the point that a lot of baseball fans are hitting where it's like, come on, man, this shit sucks. And like, I don't know. We haven't talked to him yet. I feel like he might. I'm not sure.
It's going to be a fascinating conversation. And before we get into anything else, I want to give you and I want to give Aram Layton your guys' flowers.
Thanks, man.
So if you haven't listened to the episode from Monday, Jack and Aram broke down the Tommy John epidemic in Major League Baseball. I thought it was one of the best segments that we have ever had here on the Just Baseball Show. You guys were prepared. You guys were concise yet descriptive. I felt in this 20 minutes that I got the best breakdown possible. And I'm an avid podcast listener. I shout them out all the time. Our friends at Foul Territory, The Athletic, tons of baseball podcasts. That's my favorite way. I don't really listen to music. I'm a podcast guy. I'm trying to ingest as much as I could. And I'm listening to other people. Now, other people might do some stuff that were better than us, right? We're 26 years old. We're just trying our best. But the way you and Aram broke it down was so fantastic. So if you guys have not listened to that segment yet, make sure to go do so. Jack McMullen, you took a weird-ass photo, crisscross applesauce, watching the eclipse, but you can talk about baseball like anybody on planet Earth. Good for you, but also you're a weirdo for that picture. You're a weirdo for that picture.
So thanks, man. That means a lot. And we were talking about it a little bit before we hit the record button. Like, we're really lucky to have the assortment of three that we do because it's a mix and match, and we each approach the game in a very different way. And I think any assortment of the two of us was going to attack it from a lens that like was going to be informative first, and then passionate baseball fans second. And I'm really glad to hear you say that it felt good to get all that off our chest, and it means a lot coming from you. So thank you. It was a candid. I didn't know it was happening. Like, it was not a staged photo, that crisscross applesauce photo looking up. Indy was in the path of totality for the solar eclipse.
Well, hold on. Thank God it wasn't staged. I mean, if you were like,
no,
take a picture of
if
me
it was
crisscross
staged,
applesauce, yeah,
dude,
you're weird for that.
If it was staged, that would be bad. But like, here's the thing: you put these glasses on. Did you put these glasses on today?
No, I did not go see the solar eclipse because I'm not a loser.
You're crazy. All right, so I saw the solar eclipse because I'm a loser.
You are
and
a loser.
It probably hits even harder for the YouTube crowd seeing me in these blackout shades. I'm a loser. I get it. But like, you put these on, you can't see anything but that orange dot being slightly covered by the moon. So like, I had them on and I was just staring up, and like, I sit crisscross applesauce sometimes. Okay. Not afraid to admit it. That was a candid. And my friend Anna Kaiser took it, put it on social media without my approval. And we're going to have a conversation about it.
You better. You better, because it was embarrassing. No.
Whatever.
Overall, yeah. I mean, if you went outside and you were very focused, I saw people driving from all over the country to go in that little crevice of where you could see the solar eclipse. Losers, all of you.
So
all of you.
Here's what I'm
Who
gonna
cares?
say.
And people are predicting that the world's going to end, that the second coming of
the
Jesus
rapture
is going to come, or, that aliens are going to come down. Can everybody relax for a second? It happens for 5 seconds. Yeah, aliens are already here, but we're getting way too off topic. All of this is brought to you by BetMGM, the king of sportsbooks. Remember, folks, code JustBaseball when you download BetMGM on iOS or Android. You will get a first bet offer up to $1,500, and it won't last long. So make sure to take advantage on BetMGM using our code JustBaseball. Remember, terms and conditions apply. Must be 21 or older. Gambling problem, call or text 1-800-GAMBLER. No more giving each other flowers, even though you were fantastic. And no more making fun of each other, even though you were a loser. Let's
Okay.
get into buy or sell. You ready?
Fine. What I will say is on BetMGM, I got the under 2094 for the Rapture. So I
Mm.
was thinking that might cash at plus 1800 today, but it didn't. I just got to wait.
You were going to have to wait. So, just another reminder, this is buy or sell. These are some takeaways that I have had watching Major League Baseball over the last 10 games, and I'm going to throw them at Jack, and I want his opinion on whether he's buying the take or selling. Now, some may be a little over exaggerated based on Peter Vision, the greatest stat that we have,
Yes.
and a lot of them could end up being correct. So you better be buying most of them. But some are some curveballs that I threw in to see if you're going to sell them, and maybe you'll buy them. We'll go team by team. We're going to start in the American League East with the New York Yankees. Anthony Volpe finishes the year top 5 in F WAR among shortstops.
Okay.
He's currently number 2 to Mookie Betts, and as we're recording, 3-run bomb and 2 Gold Glove caliber plays. Clearly, clearly has made an enormous change. Better plate discipline. The swing looks better. He looks like a phenomenal defender. Now, some people gave up on him. 20 home runs, 20 steals, Gold Glove, and yet we're giving up on him? No, the dude's hitting over 400. But it's a steep one. Top 5 in F WAR among shortstops. Are you buying or are you selling?
So I got really nervous that you were going to start with a crazy hot take that he was going to finish top 5 in F4 overall.
No,
And I was like, sell, sell, sell,
even
sell, sell.
even though he is second right now, but
I
you
know.
know.
I'm buying it.
Mm,
This guy's an elite defender.
mm. Say it again.
Like, he's an elite defender. And like the world better take note. And I thought Aram just made a great point in our staff group text. Like, oh wow, shocker that this guy needed a year in the big leagues to develop and blossom into his own player and his own human being. Anthony Volpe was a top 10 prospect in baseball for a reason. He was not a top 10 prospect because he was going to hit 209. I know he went 2020 and had a gold glove at shortstop, but like last year was a disappointment based on expectations for Anthony Volpe. It was a good rookie. Yeah, it was a fine rookie year. The counting numbers were okay. But Anthony Volpe can become a great player. And that was clear when he was a prospect. And I hope through the first 10 games of his season, it's become clear. I'm buying it. Mookie's going to finish with a better WAR. I think Bobby Witt Jr. is going to finish with a better WAR.
Maybe.
I think Corey Seager and Gunnar are going to finish with a better WAR.
Probably not.
But then you get into the clump of Volpe, Carlos Correa, Willie Adames, Dansby Swanson, Jeremy Pena, CJ Abrams, O'Neill Cruz. I think that Volpe can be the best WAR accumulator of the bunch. I don't think Tovar is going to hit enough to be in that conversation. I don't know if Cruz is going to defend well enough to be in that conversation. And like, is Jeremy Pena going to hit enough? Is Dansby Swanson? I really think it's going to come down to Volpe versus Dansby Swanson. And if Volpe taps into the offensive player that we think he can be, I'm buying it. He's a top 5 WAR shortstop in baseball.
I'm buying it as well. Why not Anthony Volpe? All right, let's move on to the Boston Red Sox. Buy or sell, the Red Sox finished the year top 10 in ERA as a starting pitching staff. Right now, as we are recording on Monday, April 8th at around 7:33 p.m. Eastern, they are currently number 1 in staff ERA. They also have the best ERA in their first 10 games, 10th best ERA in their first 10 games among a starting pitching staff in the last 100 years. Every single one of their pitchers have been elite to start the year. Nick Pivetta, Cutter Crawford, Brian Bayo, Tanner Houck, Garrett Whitlock, all of them have been dominant. I'm not saying one, I'm not saying five. Are you buying or selling that they finish in the top 10 in ERA as a staff this season?
I'm selling it. Bayo's actually kind of been the disappointment through 2 starts, I guess, although it is 2 starts. My thing is for a team as a whole, 10 games, 2 turns through the rotation is not enough for me to assess you. Has Nick Pivetta looked awesome? Yes. Has Tanner Houck been pitching out of his freaking mind? Yes. I don't see Tanner Houck pitching out of his mind. I don't see Cutter Crawford pitching out of his mind. And I think Cutter Crawford's a solid starting pitcher. But like 10 and 2/3, 1 earned, we sure? Garrett Whitlock, he's not going to be 9 and a third, 1 earned, 12 punch outs. I think Bayo is the consistent one. I think Pavetta will flash as the best one, but I don't think you can rely on 5 being nails every time through.
I think I'm close to buying it. Or
That's
at
fine.
least I think we're going to be in the 10 to 12 type range.
Yeah.
Because I think Nick Pivetta has clearly found something. I think Red Sox fans understood it early on last year, and then he started to kind of get his name out there with fantasy baseball people because he was racking up all the strikeouts, and then everybody starts tuning into Nick Pivetta starts, and then they realize, wait a minute, this is a real guy. Same thing with Carter Crawford. And Brian Bayo is just as solid as I think you're going to get, right? He's going to keep you in every single ball game. And Tanner Houck and Garrett Whitlock are the wild cards, but both of them have talent. I personally was a big Garrett Whitlock guy, Rule 5 pick from the Yankees, went over to the Red Sox and really found his way in the rotation. The problem is he can never stay healthy. But when healthy, he is a good arm. And Tanner Houck has always had these splits problems, right? He's good against one side of the plate, but he's been looking better against both. I'm buying that this rotation is much better than what people thought, and I'm thinking in the 10 to 12 range. And for the for the exercise, I'm gonna buy it. I think they finish in 10th spot. I
Okay.
really like this rotation.
I can get behind that real quick, Peter.
Mhm.
And we didn't discuss this pre-show, but this is more of a dialogue starter than I think maybe we anticipated. So my vote is you save the National League for you and Arm tomorrow.
Okay. All right, fine. We'll save the
There you
National
go.
League for Arm and I. Baltimore Orioles. Grayson Rodriguez finishes with the best ERA in the Orioles rotation. Now, this is a rotation with Corbin Burns, Tyler Wells, Dean Kramer, John Means is going to be back. Grayson Rodriguez currently has a 2.19, as does Dean Kramer. Corbin Burns sits at 2.39. Is Grayson Rodriguez the ace of the staff, quote unquote, by leading this rotation in ERA?
Yes. I think Burns is going to throw more innings, but I think Grayson is going to have the better ERA. Here's one for you. I think Burns and Grayson can both be sub 3.
Mm. So does
First
that mean,
time.
do you think that Grayson can win the Cy Young this year? Because if he's beaten out Corbin Burns, who else is really going to be competing with him? Because unfortunately, Framber Valdez
Shit.
was scratched from his start.
Shit.
Now, Joe Espada and their front office, they said, we're not putting him on the IL. We just want to take a second look. And that's big, right? Because some guys, when you get the elbow thing, it's clear. Everybody's on, pins and needles.
Yeah.
They seem okay. We'll see. But these guys are dropping like flies.
Yeah.
So if you think that Grayson outperforms Corbin Burns, you probably think he's going to win the Cy Young.
I
That's why I
think
wanted
he
to bring it up.
I think they could have 2 top 5 finishers in AL Cy Young voting. I think that Luis Castillo can have a great year. I think that Tarek Skubal can have a great year. I think that Reagans can have a great year. There are a bunch of guys that I think could factor into this race. But yeah, I am gonna buy that G Rod leads the O's in ERA, and I do think that we could see a rotation where both guys have a sub three.
I'm gonna sell it, and I'm gonna say John Means comes back in and leads it.
Sure. Caminero, I think, took John Means deep on the opening weekend, first rehab start.
Yeah, whatever.
Also, Tyler Wells is getting hit around a little bit. That just wasn't happening at this time last year.
I know, and he's one of my guys. He's a Peter Vision guy, so
He's
it's
awesome. He is totally a Peter Vision guy. You know what? Can he be Peter and Jack Vision? Jack
yeah,
Vision isn't a thing. I'm not cool enough for that. I just sat fucking crisscross applesauce for the Eclipse.
point. All right, Tampa Bay Rays. This is a Jack Vision one.
Yeah.
Jose Siri
Yes.
leads the offense in F4 at the end of the season. Right now, he's currently tied at 0.4 with Jose Caballero and Isaac Paredes. Is Jose Siri the F4 leader for the Tampa Bay Rays at the end of the year? Buy or sell?
This
Tough
is
one,
my
right?
guy that I think is an MVP if he could just hit it.
Hey, he's hitting right now.
He
Kind
is hitting right now. I'll sell it. I think Paredes is really good, and I think we're in for a repeat year.
Yandy's also in the lineup.
Yandy's in the
Randy's
fact,
in the
yeah,
lineup as
like,
well. Here's my thought. Here's the reason I brought it up.
yeah,
Center fielder with speed who can play some good defense while
great
also,
defender,
and he's
great
also
defender.
hitting the living piss out of the ball right now.
Yeah, but
I
we
know
know
it
that's
can
going to
wait.
stop for 2 months. You
I
know it.
know. I know. We've seen enough of Jose Siri, but what I am seeing, I am really liking, and I'm thinking center field, right? Because Randy's not good in left. Yandy stinks at first base. Now, Isaac Paredes is kind of that guy. We'll see if that continues, but it's not like he's a great defender over there at third. A guy in a premium position at center field. If he's hitting like this, it's not a crazy thought.
I can see it. I'll buy top three, but I'll sell best.
That's fair. I think that's um, probably going to be accurate. Toronto Blue Jays.
Also, real quick, before we move on to Toronto, how about Ryan freaking Pepio?
Mm.
11 punch outs and a scoreless outing in Denver.
One of the best Coors Field outings in the history of Major League Baseball. He was that damn good, and the Rockies were that damn bad.
Dude, I mean, Pepio and Zach Littell are the two guys that I'm hitching my wagon to.
And they're,
Littell looks like he's found something.
I mean, Littell just throws the ball wherever he wants. It looks like elite command. And Aaron Savali has been dominant as well, right? And then Zach Eflin, one bad inning. And then he follows it up with, I think it was a shutout outing, not over 9, over more 6 innings. But these guys, this rotation, the Rays just do this every single year. They have an entire IL rotation. And yet they're still producing pitchers year after year. Giants fans, remember Zach Littell, reliever, opener? Yeah, now he's throwing 6 shutty for the Rays.
Was he the
Guardians
one
fans,
that,
remember Aaron Savali, kind of the afterthought?
yeah.
He's now throwing 6 shutty for the Rays.
So was Littell the one, jog my memory, was he the one that kind of bitched out Gabe Kapler on his way off the mound? Do you remember that?
Was that Littell?
That might have been Zach Littell.
That might have been Zach Littell. You might be right. YouTube comments. For everybody watching this on YouTube, first, hit that subscribe button.
Yeah.
Number 2, let us know in the comments. Was that Zach Littell? Because the last time they were right. It was Ruben Tejada. Remember that slide that you were talking about?
The YouTube comments got it, and then Cooper got it from my living room.
Exactly. The YouTube comments got it as well. We have very smart crowd here listening to the Just Baseball show. So whenever we're not too keen on something or we're forgetful, let us know in the YouTube comments below. Toronto Blue Jays. This one's kind of mean, but I've just been extremely underwhelmed. And when I consider how good the American League East has looked up to this point, I think it's a valid buy or sell. Buy or sell, the Toronto Blue Jays finished last in the American League East this season.
I'll buy it. They don't look good offensively.
How's Vladdy
Don't-
doing? Just curious.
Not good.
Shocking.
How's Bichette doing in the field?
You know.
Not good.
I mean, if you don't count errors, which are a bad stat anyway, he's doing fine.
Yeah, good point. Fielding percentage, yeah, bad
Yeah,
stat.
fielding
I'm
percentage
with
is
you.
stupid. I mean,
I'm with you.
and all the stats that grade defense, they're all, I mean, you don't know how to describe defensive run saved for everybody saying, oh, Bichette's been a bad defender so far. Describe to me defensive run saved. Give me the algorithm, and then I'll maybe believe it. I only
Like,
use it when it fits my
explain it.
narrative. I only use it when it fits my narrative. You people don't understand.
Understood. Nobody's really been great except Justin Turner offensively for them. Barrios has strung together two good starts. Kikuchi has strung together two okay, solid
Gucci has
starts.
no idea where the ball is going. His stuff is great, but it's so many walks. There's so many base runners, and it's just a matter of time before he throws a fastball down the middle and someone takes it 400 feet.
Yeah.
Right? That might happen to be a solo home run if there weren't any guys on base, but it's the walks. And I do think he has great stuff. He just has no idea where it's going.
So the tough one to me is like the two guys that I point to pitching wise that I'm like, I'm genuinely impressed by you right now are in their bullpen.
Yep.
Trevor Richards and Nate Pearson. Those are the two guys that I've been impressed with. Richards, like, I don't know how he gets outs, but he gets outs. And then Pearson, it's like, hey, man, you reinvented yourself. Tip of the cap to you.
To be fair, they haven't had Jordan Romano and they haven't had Eric Swanson either, who are their two best relievers.
For
I'm
sure.
just so underwhelmed by the offense because if Springer, Bichette, and Vladdy and Turner they aren't hitting 5 through 9, it gets really, really weak fast. And then the
Also,
starting pitching, it's some quality starts in there, but where are the dominant shutouts? Because Kevin Gausman certainly hasn't delivered. I was in Yankee Stadium watching him getting destroyed by this Yankees offense. Now, to be
we're
fair,
two
the
starts
Yankees,
in and he's working off injury.
and to be fair, the Yankees have the greatest offense of all time.
Yeah.
They're
Anthony Volpe's a top five player this year, by the
top
way.
five. Yeah, maybe higher than that. I agree.
Did you see what Manoa did in Dunedin?
Yeah. I, like, I was going to
He-
make a TikTok about it, to be perfectly honest with you.
no.
At this point, like, I'm rooting for him now. Like, I went from pressure builds tires or whatever the hell he said, making fun of him to now it's like, dude, I want to see you back. Like I went from a hater to now I'm a supporter. I don't
It,
want him to just struggle and be out of baseball. He's still a fun personality. I'm now rooting for him to succeed. So I didn't tweet about it. I didn't make any TikToks. I don't want to get clicks off Alec Manoa's demise. That's not where I'm at.
yeah, it wasn't fun to see. And I'll spare you the line if you're interested. Just go to his baseball reference page and go to his minor league numbers. And it was not a good outing.
It was just balls all over the place. The velo looked good though, to his credit.
It wasn't in the strike zone.
I'm rooting for him now. All right. So Blue Jays finishing last. Is that a fine take?
Yeah,
And
I can.
it's not a oh, the Blue Jays are now going to win 60 games. No, look at the rest of the teams in the division. If the Red Sox pitching staff is this good, because their offense can bang with the Blue Jays and probably even do better.
Dude, I was shocked that your Red Sox take wasn't going to be Tyler O'Neill based.
Well,
This is fluky. Like this is not who Tyler O'Neill is in 2024. He's having a great first week and a half, 2 weeks of
here's
the
the thing.
season.
So I've been a Tyler O'Neill truther for how long? I
I
mean, I've
know,
just
I know.
always thought the talent was so there, and all he needed was just a little break from St. Louis, and he was going to go off. He was one of my big breakout picks for the Red Sox this year. What's my hot take for him right now, though? Because he's hitting like 400 and playing great.
Buy or
Buy or
sell,
sell,
Tyler O'Neill gets MVP votes.
exactly. Like that's a little tough right now. So obviously we need to see more, but the Tyler O'Neill agenda is live and well for Boston.
Yeah.
All right, let's move on to the American League Central with the Cleveland Guardians. This is an easy one. Buy or sell, the Guardians win the American League Central. They're
I'm
7
buying
and
it.
2. They lead the
Yeah.
division. Shane Bieber goes down, obviously extremely challenging, gut-wrenching. God, the quote. See the quote?
Yeah, dude.
Teary eyes. Was so excited for this season. Broke my heart, man. Bieber's one of my favorite pitchers to watch in Major League Baseball. And for him to go down like that, like this game is not fair. But that shouldn't take away from how well the Guardians are playing. Right now, as we're recording, they're up against the White Sox. Shocker, I know. But still, you can only play who's in front of you. And they did a really good job beating the piss out of the Twins. And every team they come up against, they're underdogs and they keep winning. And luckily, they still have Tanner Bybee. They still have Tristan McKenzie. They still have Logan Allen. They still have guys in this rotation. Gavin Williams should come back at some point. And then the offense. What did I say? Andres Jimenez. He's not as bad as everybody says he was last year. Way better than that. Stephen Kwan is back. Shocker. Just had a rough sophomore slump year, even though he was still fine. Jose Ramirez is still that guy. Look at Josh Naylor, still doing Josh Naylor type things, hitting the piss out of the baseball. And David
Look at
Fry? Have you seen this man? He hits a home run every time I would turn on a Guardians game.
He's balling. He's only hit one this year, so you've only watched one Guardians game.
I know. I did see him take an absolute rocket hanging slider from Joe Ryan, where it looked like 500 feet by Peter Vision, but it was only like
Yeah.
414.
So Juan is hitting 350 through his first 9 games. That's huge. Um, Brian Rocchio being this good through his front 8 was not something that was on my bingo card.
It was on mine. Do some
Oh
more
yeah.
studying. No, I had no
Sorry.
idea. I had no idea.
No, I mean when Gavin Williams builds back up and you can run out a front 4 of Bybee, Williams, Allen, McKenzie, I mean it would be I would be buying it tenfold if Bieber was healthy, but even without Bieber, I think they can figure out one more spot in that rotation. Now they're dealing with injuries at the minor league level too, like Joey Cantillo isn't healthy, and they got a bunch of guys that are on the shelf. Obviously, Daniel Espino, the horrible story, but like I don't know, I think they can piece it together.
I think that's yeah, I mean, I'm just the only reason I'm worried is are they going to add at the deadline? Like, is this a
I
team
don't
that's
know, like
going to be
it's way
active?
too early to guess.
It's way too early to guess. But I am also buying the Guardians to win the AL Central. That was my pick at the beginning, and I still think that they're the best overall team in this division.
Yeah,
The Detroit Tigers, I have been wildly impressed with this bullpen. Buy or sell, the Tigers bullpen finishes top 3 in ERA as a unit. They are currently in second. Jason Foley looks unhittable.
he does.
Shelby Miller, fantastic addition. Alex Lang, one of the great celebrations once the game is over, just stands there and just stares.
He's spraying right now, man. It's
Yeah.
not good.
I mean, yeah, it's kind of all over the place.
But like Chafin's been solid,
He's been
and
great.
everybody's been good out of that pen, even an Alex Faedo, aside
Mm.
from one bad outing. Like, I'm gonna sell it because bullpens are so volatile, and the team that's got a great bullpen 2 weeks into the season, chances are that bullpen's not going to be great for 6 months. Like, Houston's got one of the worst bullpen ERAs in the game right now, and that's in large part because of Hader, Presley, and Abreu. It's a toughie.
I'm buying it because I think it's deeper than it's ever been, right? We mentioned Foley, Chafin, Miller, and Lang, but Tyler Holton has been fantastic to start the
And
year.
he was fantastic last year.
Exactly. And Will Vest as well put up a 2.98 ERA in 48 innings, right? And if Alex Faedo has found a home here in the bullpen, you don't really have a break. So this is as deep. And then you still have the electricity of Jason Foley at the top with 101-mile-an-hour sinkers. He's just
Yep.
not a well-known name. But if I told you one guy's throwing 101-mile-an-hour sinkers and the other guy's throwing 99-mile-an-hour cutters, and Emmanuel Clase is just a more well-known name, more proven, but stuff-wise, this Tigers bullpen can hang with anybody. And when I watch Tigers games and they have a lead in the 7th, game over. Game over. I'm buying it. I think this is one of the best bullpens in Major League Baseball.
I respect your buy.
Kansas City Royals. Here's a player that I just really, really want to talk about. Michael Garcia finishes top 5 in F WAR among all third basemen. Buy or sell. He's currently first with 0.5. Ladies and gentlemen, if you haven't turned on Royals games lately, watch this man play defense. It is electric. Every ball he gets to. He has that same, you know, I'm trying to think of like the great third baseman coming in on the baseball. Like Arenado was always so good at it when there's a little dribbler, picks it up and fires it over to first, and what's normally maybe an infield hit.
I mean,
Matt
Matt
Chapman's
Chapman.
great at it too. Brian Hayes is great at it. Michael Garcia is as good as any of these guys. And horizontally, like laterally with his feet, so fast, cannon of an arm, and he hits the living piss out of baseballs. This guy is a fantastic talent. He does everything that you'd want from a third baseman. He's not a big guy, but he hits the ball like he's a 6'4", 230-pound guy. If he just lifts the ball a little bit more, we got tons of home runs in his future. But we already have the doubles. We already have the elite defense. Like, is he a better player than Brian Hayes?
No, not yet, but I think it's closer than a lot of people may think because they haven't heard the name Michael Garcia before. The thing that jumps out to me is the 3 homers early. And
Yep.
I know that Michael Garcia was a big breakout pick for a lot of people. Michael Garcia last year in 515 plate appearances had 4 homers. In 44 plate appearances, he's got 3 homers this year. So if this guy figured out a way to elevate and celebrate, then I could absolutely see it. I'm a hater, so I doubt people's ability to do something that they haven't done before when you have a decently large sample. And Mikel Garcia has not been a guy that has really done it over a large sample. I know that, he's had some stops, like 2022 in 40 games, he had 7 homers in what, AAA? But in Double A, he had 4 homers in 78 games. I think if he's hitting homers, I could see it. I don't think he's going to hit homers because I haven't seen him do it really at any stop. Um, so I will say that third base, which is a very crowded position right now, there are 5 guys that surpass him, but I certainly think he's in the 6 to 10 range.
Yeah, I just wanted to bring him up because I think with how fantastic the defense is, he has a high floor. And if he is achieving this level of power, because the other third baseman in the game right now, like Nolan Arenado, I even tweeted out that he looked hurt. And earlier on in the season, even though we're obviously really early, but through the first couple of games, when he was swinging, he looked like he was grimacing. And then his defense took a drop last year. Matt Chapman just doesn't look like the exact same ball player that we've been used to over the years. Manny Machado, you could say sort of the same thing, even though Machado's bat has been great. So
Well,
Machado is
Machado's not
certainly going to
playing
be up
third
there.
just yet. Yeah.
Yeah. And then, of course, exactly. And then, you still have Rafael Devers as well. And you still have plenty of guys. But I'm just looking at it from a standpoint of power and defense from a 24-year-old. To your point, he never really showed much in the minor leagues from a power department. But at the same time, he's done a bunch of different stops and never really found his footing. Right? We got 53 games in high A, then 78 in double, then 40 in triple, and then he comes up as a 22-year-old, gets a cup of coffee, then back down to triple A 24 games, then back up to the major leagues. It's just been a bunch of flip-flopping for him. And I'm just
So
very impressed with the talent.
problem is you just kind of run out of space in that top 5 quickly. Like Austin Riley's going to be in the top 5.
Easily.
I mean, Devers is going to be in the top 5. Somehow, Devers is grading out as a positive defender right now, and
He
like
does look good. To his credit.
season's 5 minutes old. But like,
Yep.
I mean, if he is even below average, he's going to surpass Michael Garcia. J Ram is going to be top 5. Feel very
Definitely.
strongly about that.
Definitely.
And then you run into the Alex Bregman, Manny Machado when he gets healthy, like that kind of conversation. I'd clump Isaac Paredes in there when it comes to WAR accumulation. And I just think like the next tier behind that is Ke'Bryan Hayes and Michael Garcia. And I don't think that Michael Garcia can thrust himself into tier 1, top 5 at this point.
I think there's an outside shot.
We'll
I'm
see.
gonna I'm gonna buy it. I think he does. That's one of my hot takes. We'll see at the end of the year.
Yeah.
I'm just so impressed with him. Next one, Minnesota Twins, another easy one. Might not be that easy. Buy or sell, the Minnesota Twins miss the playoffs.
I'm buying it. Royce getting hurt, Brooks Lee dealing with injury. Is Buxton gonna be healthy? Like, I'm buying it. This team, it's hard for me to really get fired up about the Twins when Royce gets hurt on opening day. Like they are just so injury prone. And the fact that they subtracted instead of adding this offseason, I think hurts it. And again, like I think the AL Central is a 1 bid league. I already bought that the Guardians win the division. So like if Minnesota's not winning the division, they're not making the postseason.
I agree with you. I'm just really nervous about, first of all, this Twins team staying healthy, which I've talked about before. But another point that I want to bring up that I thought was very undersold this offseason by the national media. Twins lost Sonny Gray. And
Yeah.
like nobody really cared. Because like, oh, well, they still have Pablo Lopez, they still have Joe Ryan, they still. Yeah, but you lost the guy who finished second in American League Cy Young voting.
Correct.
Huge loss. Because now I'm looking at a Twins rotation where Pablo is awesome. Joe Ryan is fantastic. Bailey Ober is good. Obviously, he's coming off a horrific start, but he's not that bad. He's good. I think good is a good term for him. Louis Varland, what is he? Chris Paddock, what is he? Right? I'm watching Chris Paddock take on the Brewers. Looked fine. Velo was there. Command was not that great. Like, what is Chris Paddock? What is Louis Varland? The bullpen is still great. The offense is good in bunches, but when, you know, when they're not hitting at the top, it falls off really quick. This team is built on momentum, and if they're not hitting, say goodnight. And they have some power, but when the power ain't there that day, they're going to lose. And it's been a very boring product. That's how I would describe the Twins right now, is boring. Not bad, but just boring. There's
Yeah.
no electricity from this team.
Well, Pablo and Ryan aren't boring, I'd say. And there's
No,
no
that's true.
Yohan Duran.
I'm talking
Yohan
about the
Duran,
team as a whole. The
yeah,
team
like
as a whole, like
overall team identity.
when I turn on a Twins game, I'm not like, oh shit, let's lock in right now.
No, I
Like
mean, like, we're
I think the
not,
Twins are better than the Royals, but the Royals are more fun to watch, if
yeah,
that makes sense.
we're not tweeting out Twins highlights that often.
Because there aren't that many. Like Kirilloff has been on a freaking tear. You know,
Yeah, but
Correa's still doing his thing, but it's
and as
like, yeah,
Kirilov ticks up, Julien ticks down. Like
exactly.
everything comes back to this equilibrium that I don't think is as elevated as Cleveland's.
So you're buying it? I'm buying it as well.
I'm buying it.
Next one, Chicago White Sox.
Buying it.
They win the World Series. Buy or sell?
Buying it.
Buying it.
What same start as the 2021 Braves, right? Buying it.
Exactly. No, but here's a good one. This is gonna make you scratch your head a little bit.
Okay.
Buy or sell? Garrett Crochet gets Cy Young votes. Through 18 innings, he's at a 2 ERA, 2.00 with 21 strikeouts. He's looked dominant. Buy or sell? He gets Cy Young votes. Not wins the Cy Young, right? There are guys who get down ballot Cy Young votes all the time, down to what, the 15 range. How many guys get Cy Young votes at the end of the day?
I think like 15, 16.
Down vote Cy Young. Does he get some?
No, I'm selling it. Most innings he's ever thrown in a single season is 65. That was 2019 when he was a sophomore at Tennessee. He's going to get capped way before that.
More than fair. I wanted to ask you because he's getting some Cy Young buzz among the gambling community.
Yeah, he should not. Like, he's not going to pass up 120 innings. That would be double his previous high.
Yeah, I don't see it either. But he is built like a brick shit house, so maybe he could withstand it based on just his mass.
Sure, but like this guy in his big league career has thrown 54 and a third in 2021 out of the bullpen. 54 appearances have gone 54 and a third. Then he threw 12 and 2/3 on his way back from injury, and now he's at 18 through 2 starts. That doesn't turn into 130 right away. And like, I think you need to throw 120 to get Cy Young votes, or you need to be a lights out closer.
That was one of those takes that I also don't believe in, but I wanted to throw it at you to see what you thought. And I'm also selling. I don't think he's going to throw enough innings, but I also wanted to bring it up because, I mean, damn, he looks good. I mean, it's just, it's 6'7", all legs and arms coming at you from just an crazy release point. Buzz, he just looks so tough to hit. If you're a lefty, I just shit myself.
Also, 21 Ks to 1 walk in 18 innings. The 1 walk. What?
What? It's awesome.
Good for you, Garrett.
I mean, him and Eric Fetty make the White Sox watchable if you love pitching. Because Fetty's throwing 95. Like,
yeah, Fetty's gonna massage his way through an order. Like Crochet is the actual fun watch, but Fetty's the okay watch.
I'm just saying I watched Eric Fetty and I was entertained. And maybe that's just, I'm a freak who just is obsessed with baseball, but I was entertained watching Eric Fetty. And I was like, I now have 2 guys who I'm going to turn on White Sox games to watch. Maybe not all the way through. Once you get to the bullpen, game's over. I'm out. I'm watching another game.
Watch Leisure.
I watched it. He looks okay. I mean, he looks pretty good. You know? So I just, moral of the story, when Garrett Crochet is pitching, go watch.
Yeah.
This is an interesting one as we move on to the American League West. Texas Rangers. And as you could probably tell by now, I'm going in order of the current division standing. So the Rangers currently in first, Central, White Sox in last.
Yeah.
Cody Bradford stays in the rotation all year, even with Tyler Mahle, Jacob DeGrom, and Max Scherzer returning. He's got a 2.13 ERA with a 1.89 expected ERA. He only has one walk, 10 strikeouts, 12 innings. He's got some Martin Perez to him in the sense of you blink and you're in the fifth inning and he's allowed one run. It's not electric stuff. It's 90 miles an hour, but he's putting it wherever he wants it right now. And when I look, I'm looking at Dane Dunning. I'm looking at John Gray. I'm looking at some of the other arms in this rotation, and I'm not totally impressed. And I'm also, well, you had Cole Reagans, and then you trade him to the Royals, and now you get another lefty who maybe gets a velo uptick. I'm more looking at it from that lens.
No.
But it promotes a larger conversation of this current Rangers rotation, who's staying when those guys return. And I wanted to bring up Bradford, give him his flowers through 2 starts. I've thought he looked really, really effective. And if I'm a Rangers fan, I'm intrigued. So I wanted your opinion on who stays when those 3 horses return.
I'm selling that right quick because Eovaldi's got a spot, and
Obviously. Yeah.
I'd rather see Dunning start.
Would you? Because
I think that
he's been in the bullpen some.
I think that Cody Bradford can make the adjustment to the reliever role better than a John Gray. John Gray is they're paying him to be a starting pitcher, so he's gonna be in
But we
there.
saw John Gray in the playoffs in the bullpen.
Yeah, but like playoff bullpen and regular season bullpen are different things. Heaney, playoff bullpen, regular season bullpen are different things. And then they signed Michael Lorenzen, man. Michael Lorenzen's building up in AAA right now. There are too many established names that they're paying several $1,000,000 to for Cody Bradford to stay in the rotation. Tip of the cap to you through 2 starts, Cody Bradford. Like, you look solid. You're going to be a really good reliever the back half of the year for Texas.
I think you're sleeping. No.
All right. I will stay sound asleep. No issues on my end.
No, that's fair. I just more wanted to get into a conversation of who's going to stay when all these guys return because they have like
Yeah,
9 pitchers,
and
which is great.
Eovaldi for sure, like obviously. And
100%.
then I mean, I guess Gray. I think Gray would be my big guess.
That's what I'm saying. Like, we know what John Gray is. Maybe Cody Bradford's like a little bit of a. You're facing a lot of heat. You got
We'll see what
DeGrom, you
Chris
got
wants to do
Eovaldi
at the
because it's a
deadline.
completely different look, right?
Yeah.
And they could use a lefty, right? When DeGrom, Scherzer, Mahle, and Eovaldi, you need a lefty. I mean, you could go all righties, but I feel like when John Gray comes around and after you face all those guys, he's going to look like he's throwing a balloon.
They're paying Heaney more money.
So what?
It's a start, Heaney. You're paying him more money.
Just to lose on purpose? No, Heaney's been fine. I'm just joking. I'm more intrigued with the guy that I don't really know much about versus
Yeah,
Andrew
I
Heaney, who
understand.
I know exactly who you are.
It's the shiny new toy. Yeah.
It's the shiny new toy, and I'm a little boy. All
Yeah.
right, let's move on to the Los Angeles Angels. Here's a player, kind of like Michael Garcia with the Royals, just a player I've been wildly impressed with. Logan O'Hoppe finishes as a top 10 catcher in Major League Baseball by FWAR. Buy
Yes.
or sell?
Yes. Buy. Logan O'Hoppe is a very good baseball player.
Damn, he looks good. For his career, a 126 WRC plus, slashing 260, 325, 502. The dude hits bombs, slug. Consistent home runs coming off the bat, doubles. It's like outside of Mike Trout, it's like, all right, we just got to get through everybody. Oh, wait, Logan O'Hoppe's up. We got to get through him. Like, it's Trout and O'Hoppe, and then the rest,
I mean, credit to Shonowell. Like, hey, shout out Nolan Shonowell with a 30-game on base streak to open his career. Like, there's enough. There's enough to get me to turn on a Reed Detmer start. I will say that.
Yeah, no, I'm talking about the offense, though.
I know there's enough offense to get me to turn on a Reed Detmer start.
Here's the thing about Shenwell. He's got a 61 WRC plus right now. He's hitting 074.
I know,
So
but he
it's
was
like,
getting on
yes.
base once.
Yeah, he's getting on base. No, it's so funny. He's hitting 074 with a 297 OBP and a 185 slug. That's your first baseman.
Yeah, but like
And I bet on
that
this
is
dude to win
not
Rookie of the
going
Year.
to happen. He's probably not going to hit many homers, but like he can be a bat to ball first baseman that hits 280. I think that is absolutely in the cards for Shonowell.
Logan O'Hoppe, man. Make sure to tune in. All right, Seattle Mariners next up. And we have Mariners, then Astros, then A's, and then we'll talk with Walker Buehler. This is one that I reached out to the Marine Layer pod, and I talk about them a lot. I think TJ and Lyle do a fantastic job on the Just Baseball Network of breaking down everything Mariners. And they were another team where I posed the question, do they make the playoffs? But I was like, oh, I've done that with a couple. I'm just going to reach out and see what he says. And he gave me a very interesting point. Jerry Dipoto and Scott Service both have their contracts end at the end of the year and are currently without extensions. So my question is, do the Mariners miss the playoffs and then those two both don't return, buy or sell? There's a little more context in there.
Yeah. It's layered. I like the layered aspect
Layered.
of it.
You like that? It's like a lasagna.
I sell. Wait, how'd you pose the question? Do they make it or do they miss it?
So the are you buying that the
Yeah.
Mariners miss the playoffs?
And
They
both those guys are
and
gone.
both those guys are gone after.
No. I sell it. I think the Mariners will make the playoffs, and I think both those guys are retained. I could also see them ever so slightly missing the playoffs, just like what happened last year, and both those guys get retained.
Do they
It's
want to
really hard to find another Scott Service.
do
Like
they want
very
to
hard.
do they want to be retained? Dipoto, does he
I think so.
want? I think they're very upset. From what Lyle is telling me, they're very upset because ownership keeps slashing the budget and they can't put the team on the field that they want to because they don't have any money to work with. So maybe it's less Scott Service, more Jerry Dipoto. I just think that this Mariners front office and manager could look a lot different after the end of the year based on what I'm hearing from guys who are the biggest diehard Mariners fans that we can find on the internet. And on top of that, we sure they're making the playoffs? We sure?
No, we're not sure. We're not sure that offense is good enough.
So if I'm looking at an American League, one is coming from the Central. We'll give them one, whoever wins that division.
Yeah.
So there's the winners in
4
each
spots
East
left.
and West.
Yeah.
Now there's
2
three
wild card spots. Is it going to be 2 AL East teams or is it going to be, yeah, like
And then
that's
you
the
have the
big question.
Astros, who are still, I think, going to bounce back. You have the Orioles. You have the Red Sox. You have the Yankees. You have the Rays. When I watch this Mariners team, I don't think that they're better than those teams.
Over 162 with that pitching.
But it's like,
I think that pitching's good enough.
is it?
Yeah.
Bullpen's good enough?
It will be. No brash hurts.
It does hurt. I'm a little bit nervous about the Mariners. I'm not going to lie. All right, let's move on. This is interesting. This is going to tug your heartstrings. Buy or sell Ronel Blanco is the Astros' fifth starter over Hunter Brown once the guys come back. So, Verlander, Luis Garcia, Framber Valdez, Christian Javier, and who's the five? Because Ronel Blanco went 14 2/3 without allowing a hit. Has looked fantastic. Now, the stuff doesn't look as good as Hunter Brown's. But Hunter Brown at the same time is rocking an ERA in the mid sixes. Now, it's extremely early. It's 2 times through the rotation. I still think Hunter Brown is more talented, but we cannot deny what we're seeing with Ronel Blanco.
No, you keep the hot hand in the rotation, but the problem there becomes Luis Garcia isn't back until the All-Star break, and we have no idea what the severity of Framber's elbow issue is, and you better be careful with an elbow issue. So even if it's just soreness, Framber's going to miss, I think, 2 or 3 turns at the very least through this rotation. It's not, I wasn't feeling good today, but I'll be fine tomorrow, and then I'm going to throw. Like that's not how this rolls in 2024. We've seen that. So I think there's enough time for Ronel Blanco to come back down to earth. And I hope he doesn't come back down to earth because it has been maybe the most positive story in baseball to this point. He has a kid, he throws a no-hitter, and then he carries one into what? The top of the 6th? Or bottom of the
Rangers.
6th? Against the Rangers.
On Sunday Night Baseball.
Yes. I think it's the positive story in baseball at this point. I hope it keeps going. I think it will keep going. And I think he will probably transition into a swingman role at the All-Star break because that's when I think you have to make a decision.
That's fair. I also think I'd still rather have Hunter Brown, but I wanted to make it a conversation. And I
want to
know
get 10 starts in. I want to see 10 from both of them.
And there's much more variables in there, right? You talked about Framber, right? We think Luis Garcia is going to come back fully healthy. We think Justin Verlander is going to come back fully healthy.
Verlander's on rehab. He's on his way back, yeah.
some of these takes, I more just want to talk about some of these guys. And
I
Ronel
understand.
Blanco has been the story of the MLB season,
I
like you
understand.
said. And the last one, I love this one. Buy or sell, Paul Blackburn makes his second All-Star game.
Buying it.
He's one of 7 pitchers currently qualified who have a 0 ERA. He's a great. We're going to start referring to Paul Blackburn as a multiple-time All-Star. Remember, every team gets an All-Star. So you could say, well, no, Paul Blackburn isn't as talented as this guy or this guy. The A's need an All-Star. And if it ain't Zach Geloff, could be JJ Bleday in center, who's been playing really, really well. But it's got to be somebody. And it might be the guy who's already been to an All-Star game, has already showed that he can start off with a really good first half. So you're buying Paul Blackburn makes his second All-Star game. Multiple-time All-Star Paul Blackburn. How
Yep.
about it?
I'm buying multi-time All-Star Paul Blackburn.
That is going to be a great trivia question.
Raise the banner in Sacramento. Paul Blackburn, multi-time All-Star.
So tomorrow we will do National League buy or sell. I'll throw Aram my National League buy or sell, like we said, but